Okay, now we will talk about osmosis and osmotic pressure. Okay, see, actually, osmosis is a very common phenomena. It occurs in the biological kingdom. So like it is a phenomena. It frequently happens in the biological world. Okay, in the nature. See, let's see what is osmosis. By definition, it is the movement of solvent from a less concentrated region to more concentrated region. Of course, you feel it is difficult to comprehend, right? Okay, we will see. Suppose there are many examples we will be seeing in our daily life also. Okay, so you take the example, you are keeping some water. Okay, so you took some amount of, okay, let it be, this is a salt water. Okay, so you are taking a one or two gooseberry and you are dipping into this. So now the gooseberry will be like this when you are initially putting. Okay, after maybe let it be one day over. So if you see the gooseberry, okay, it will be shrinking in this way. So gooseberry, from this regular shape to this is it will shrink into its smaller size. Okay, so how this happen or why this is happening? See, actually outside here it is a salt solution, right? Outside it is salt solution. Why this gooseberry is shrinking? Because from this gooseberry the water molecules, okay, it will go out. So if I am drawing this picture here, okay, so it's outside, it is salt water, right? So inside of gooseberry, there will be pure water, which is not having any which is actually where it is more concentrated. This outside region it is more concentrated, right? Because there is more amount of salt, more concentrated. So where there is a more amount of solute, there it is going to be more concentrated. But inside of this gooseberry there will be only pure water. It is not concentrated at all. So the movement of the water, it will happen from inside of the gooseberry to outside through this particular membrane. This is a natural membrane, right? This is actually, this particular membrane, we call it as a semi-permeable membrane. Why it is called a semi-permeable membrane? Okay, it is not permitting the passage of the solute particles. Okay, this gooseberry, it also has some protein, carbohydrate or some kind of biomolecules. Okay, it is not allowing the passage of those biomolecules to pass from this membrane to outside. Okay, so the semi-permeable membrane, actually, in fact, our skin, even our skin, it is a semi-permeable membrane, because when we are running, okay, when we are doing exercise, we can see that there will be water molecules on the surface. From where that water molecules are coming? Okay, so it's not coming from the atmosphere, it is from our own body. When it is setting, there is a small pores on the skin. Okay, so it will ooze out, it will come out of the skin. Okay, so the semi-permeable membrane, if I am representing in this way, okay, so it will have small pores. Okay, so there will be small pores. So these type of bigger molecules, okay, it do not enter, it do not pass through these pores, right? But water, it is water or any kind of solvent that is smaller in size. Okay, so like water kind of molecule or any kind of solution, solvent, okay, it can pass through this through this small pores. We can say that as a microscopic pores. Okay, so what will happen? The solvent molecules, it will go out of it, but the bigger particles, it will remain within the semi-permeable membrane in the nest boundary. Okay, so that is what is happening here. This gooseberry, it is shrinking because the particles within the gooseberry, it will remain there, but only the solvent water molecules, it will release out. Okay, so this particular phenomenon is called osmosis. By definition, osmosis is movement of solvent from low concentrated region to higher concentrated region. Okay, so this is called osmosis. So let's if I give you an experimental demonstration, let's see how this will look like. Okay, so you consider, suppose, okay, so okay, so this is a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so it is outside, it is surrounded with pure water. Okay, so here inside of this particular funnel, okay, I will write it elaboratively, little more lengthy. Okay, inside this funnel, okay, there will be some salt solution. Okay, the level of salt solution will be only up to here. If you keep like this, you are just immersing, and if you keep like this, what will happen. So through this semi-permeable membrane, okay, so this water molecules, it will enters through the semi-permeable membrane. Okay, you can understand where is the more concentration is there. Actually, inside the salt solution, it is more concentrated, because that is having more amount of sodium chloride, or like more amount of salt molecules are there. So here it is more concentrated. Here outside it is less concentrated. Okay, so as a result, the water is moving. Okay, so this level it will rises up. Okay, so it will go, it can almost occupy up to this region. Okay, so you can, by this way, you can experimentally demonstrate that, okay, osmosis, it is a phenomenon in which the flow of a solvent molecule, here it is water, right, a flow of solvent molecule through the semi-permeable membrane, because there will be small pores over here, through the semi-permeable membrane towards the more concentrated region. Okay, so this particular phenomenon is called osmosis. Now you need to know one particular time. Actually, whatever the natural process it is, okay, it is not going to go indefinitely. It won't happen indefinitely. Like, okay, there will be a stop, right? Like whatever happens, so it will happen, but once it is reaching to a maximum level, once the saturation limit is attaining, okay, there will be a stop. There will be no more osmosis, or the process it will happen. Okay, so in the case of osmosis also, that is same. Actually, let's see how the things it will happen. Okay, see, consider two chamber. Okay, so here let it be. Okay, so this is this is again an SPM, that is semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so here you are taking salt solution. Okay, so here it is water molecules will be there. Okay, so obviously or else here it is more concentrated solution. Okay, let it be salt solution itself, that is easy to tell. Okay, here there is water, so that the flow of solvent will go from from less concentrated region to more concentrated region. Here it is more concentrated region, right? This region 2, it is more concentrated. What will happen? This flow of water, it will go on to happen from this particular side to this side. Okay, from here to here, because here is the more concentration is there. Okay, so but you have to know, nothing will happen indefinitely. It will not happen like without any end, right? So after some time, what will happen? Once in both side, there will be some equilibrium is happening. Okay, both side, the concentration or like the solvent amount of solvent is almost the same. What will happen? There will be no more flow of this solvent will happen. Okay, there will be some reverse pressure. I mean pressure from this side also. It will block the entry of this water molecule. Okay, so it will exert some pressure on this semi-permeable membrane. That pressure, okay, once the equilibrium is attained, okay, so that pressure which is acting against the flow of osmosis is called osmotic pressure. Okay, now I have to ask you actually how this osmotic pressure is related to colligative property. Suppose here actually I am taking, okay, let's go into quantification. So it is a 10 molar salt solution. Okay, let it be the first case. In second case, I removed that 10 molar and I added 20 molar salt solution. Okay, and in third case, I added 30 molar salt solution. Okay. So, or else, okay, remove 30 molar, it is a 20 molar salt solution. Do you know one thing? Okay, of course, in both cases, the flow of water molecule, it will happen. Of course, water molecule is going to flow from this region to this region. That means the first region to second region. Okay, but, in which case there will be more flow of solvent? Definitely in this case, because, in order to make it to reach into the equilibrium, more water molecule has to go there. Obviously, there after some time, there will be more pressure from that side to prevent this flow. Obviously, more concentrated solution, okay, it will exert more osmotic pressure. That means more the concentration, more will be the osmotic pressure. That means, more the number of solute molecules, okay, solute particle, more will be the vapor pressure. Also, that it is purely, this osmotic pressure is purely dependent on the number of particles, not about the identity. So hence it is coming under the category of colligative properties, right? Okay, and now we can theoretically formulate how this osmotic pressure is we can express it, how the osmotic pressure can be expressed. See, osmotic pressure, before going into that, in a solution, we are mostly saying that, okay, this solute particles, we consider that they are actually, that is not having any interaction. Okay, so no interaction will be there. No interaction will be there. Okay, so, we consider that, these solute particles are almost equivalent to gases. So, the gas laws, PV is equal to nRT is applicable in the case of these solute particles as well. Okay, so we will write, so it is a PV is equal to nRT. So I will write it is N2RT, okay, or else nRT. So this N is the number of moles of solute, P is the partial pressure of, or else a pressure exerted by this these particles. Okay, V is the volume and R and T are universal gas constant and temperature. Okay, so instead of P in this osmotic pressure term, okay, we are representing it with the pi. Pi V is equal to nRT. So I can also write pi V, pi is equal to N divided by V into RT. Okay, N divided by V, what is that? Actually that is concentration. So I can write a C into RT. Okay, pi is equal to CRT. This is the expression for osmotic pressure. Okay, please remember this. This is a very important equation. Okay, pi is equal to CRT. This is the expression for osmotic pressure. Okay. So, you need to know actually, this same way we have calculated, we know that, from other quantities we can, other colligative properties, the elevation of boiling point or depression of freezing point, we can calculate also the, the molecular weight of solute, right? Same we can do here also, instead of N, it is a weight divided by molecular weight if you apply, okay. It is, instead of N, it is a weight divided by molecular weight of the solute. Okay, if you apply, directly you can substitute, that is divided by V. It is if you I can write this pi is equal to weight divided by molecular weight into RT divided by V. Okay, so this way you can calculate. Actually this is a molecular weight, right? Okay, molecular weight is equal to pi into weight of the solute into, molecular weight is equal to, okay, weight of the solute into R into T divided by pi into V. Okay, of course, you can directly substitute and you can calculate it. Okay, you have to know actually on very important information. Actually, there is through this elevation of boiling point or depression of freezing point also, or like relative lowering of vapor pressure also, we are calculating the molecular weight, right? Molecular weight of the solute. But this is the most preferred method. Actually, osmotic pressure calculations are the most preferred method for the calculation of molecular weight of the solute. Do you know why? Because even if the small change in concentration also, okay, small change in vapor pressure, osmotic pressure also, it can even like it is very accurate, even very minute value also it can be determined. Okay, moreover, some types this biomolecules, say protein, carbohydrates, and amino acids, and even nucleic acids, these are all, it is difficult to handle with other techniques, see elevation of boiling point or depression of freezing point kind of steps. Okay, so in these kind of things, it is easy, easy to go with this osmotic pressure calculations. Of course, osmosis, it is having lot of biological significance. See, if I tell you some of it, see, consider, there is a plant, right? Okay, so how the roots are absorbing water. Okay, see, where is the more concentration of the solute will be there. Inside this root, more concentration will be there, because there will be more protein, carbohydrate types of biomolecules are there. So through osmosis, the water will enter through this roots, and then it will go into the shoot. Okay, and again 0.9% weight by volume percentage saline solution, it is called it is actually, that is what it is using for preserving the biological fluids center. Okay, because this particular concentration, it is equal to the osmotic pressure of the biological fluids. Okay, and again like if I tell you some more examples, for instance, okay, so when we are buying carrot in the market, right? Okay, you might have observed, carrot will be shrinking, it won't be as healthy as how it is pricking. So most of the time, this parents, the mom in the home, she will put this carrot. So after some time, this will bulges, right? Okay, so this carrot, it is having the size of how it was originally. And some in the home, we are seeing the daily this pickles and all, gooseberry, if you put into saline water, okay, it will shrink, right? Because already I told you that example, the water, it will be going out of the solution, out of the gooseberry. Okay, because outside of the gooseberry, it is saline water, it is more concentrated. Okay, so there are plenty of examples are there, we can say. And like even another application in which this osmosis is applying is a purification of seawater. Let's see how this will be doing. Okay, see, I am drawing the picture actually. That purification we are doing using the principle of reverse osmosis. So okay, so reverse osmosis, what it will happen is, okay, I will draw the picture. Okay, see, so that in certain Gulf countries and even in some Asian countries, okay, of course there is, of course it is also saying that there is a scarcity for water even in India. Okay, so the how they are getting the drinking water is they will purify that drinking water from seawater. Of course that process is a very energy consuming. And let's see, actually here we will take salt water. Okay, they will take a saline water, or else, okay, we can also say seawater. Okay, and now this is the pure water. We know that through this semi-permeable membrane, usually they will use cellulose acetate as the semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so we know that the water flow is supposed to happen from this side in the regular osmosis, in the normal osmosis, right? But what they will do in such a way that they will apply pressure from this side. obviously, you know, this more than the osmotic pressure, they will give the pressure. Okay, so you know, the flow of water will happen from here to here, and from here, you know, they will just purify it and they will just take it out. Okay, so they will give some pressure which is higher than osmotic pressure. This pressure here, it is going to be higher than osmotic pressure. Okay, and obviously the water which is coming, you know, they will take it out and they will use for drinking purposes. Okay, of course, it is this process, it is a very energy consuming, and you know, it is highly you know, it is a time, you know, highly energy consuming. Okay, and you know, it is not cost effective method. So this is the this particular thing is called, this particular process is called reverse osmosis, you know, because you know, it is normally, it is supposed to happen from here to here. That means, you know, pure water to saline water, right? But you know, under the pressure, they are making it's a direction to change in a reversed way. So hence the name, it is called a reverse osmosis. Okay, so that is it about reverse osmosis, and let's go into two questions. Let's see how the question can be done. Suppose okay, consider, you know, 200 centimeter cube. Okay, aqueous solution of a protein contains, so you know, the volume, it is, you know, it is a water, you know, it contain aqueous solution, you know, it contain protein, its volume is a 200 ml. Okay, so or else, you know, 200 centimeter cube, it is nothing but 200 ml. So volume, it is 200 ml, and it contains 1.26 gram of a protein. Okay, so the mass of a protein is, or weight of the protein is 1.26 gram. Okay, and the osmotic pressure of this particular solution, it is pi. This solution, its osmotic pressure, it is around 2.57 into 10 raised to minus 3 bar at temperature is 300 Kelvin. Okay, so and we need to calculate the molecular weight of this protein. Okay, let's see, you know, you remember pi is equal to CRT, right? So pi we know, it is already given. Concentration we don't know, R value we know, T also we know, right? So we can directly go into this. Okay, this 200 centimeter cube, or also 200 ml, we can convert it into 0.200 liter, so or also 0.2 liter. Okay, R value, you know, you already know, it is 0.083 liter bar mole inverse Kelvin inverse. Okay, now we will first see, we will you know, the concentration, it is nothing but number of moles divided by volume, right? Okay, so number of moles, it is okay, number of moles, C is equal to number of moles divided by volume. So number of moles, it is a weight of the solvent solute divided by molecular weight. So we can just substitute those things here. Okay, we can say that it is instead of this equation, we can change us into, you know, it will if you substitute, okay, the molecular weight, you know, it will come around, you know, it is weight of the solute into RT divided by pi into V. Okay, now the task is easy. Okay, weight of the solute here, it is they are using 1.26 gram into 0.083 into temperature, it is 300 Kelvin divided by pi is equal to 2.57 into 10 raised to minus 3 into the volume is it is around 0.200 liter. Okay, so you know, if you calculate it, okay, you will get the value around 61.022 gram per. Okay, this is going to be the molecular weight. you will be getting. Okay, so you will encounter very similar problems. Of course we will do it in successive classes. Okay.